quick, let's just kind of revisit the law of addition and then jump into comments you guys might have in regards to the law of solid ground. Y'all kind of give me a thumbs up here. Y'all enjoying this? Y'all enjoying the Maxwell's book? Good. All right. Good. Leslie, you better give me a thumbs up. I'm looking at you.
What John C. Maxwell book is it, sir?
The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership.
Oh yes, I love that book. Thumbs up.
Okay, that's what we're doing right now. You in, right?
I'm in.
Okay. All right. So this is for anybody. This is some of the questions I had that I kind of mentioned last week. What does it mean to add value to someone? Anybody?
John, that's such an
I'll
easy.
take it.
None of us can answer it. Who let somebody else go? I had something.
I'll go.
Okay.
This is Teresa. Your question on what does it mean to add value to someone?
Yep, that's kind of just in, out of the law of addition last week, some of the things we talked about. What kind of comes to your mind?
When I think about adding value to someone, when I meet someone, pouring information into them that's going to leave them better off than what they were before I poured the information in them.
Okay. Can you give any examples? Anything come to mind?
Yes. If you say to me, I'm having trouble. I'm thinking here for a minute of something. Oh, okay. So if you say to me, I need to get a will done, I don't know what to do, I don't know the first step, I have no clue. Well, one of the things I can share with that person is that I do a will workshop every single Friday. And I could share some information about it, but more importantly, I can let them know that our company can provide them with a will, a medical directive, as well as a power of attorney, and that's inclusive with your membership. So I've given them some information that they were not aware of to bring, and I brought value to them because people don't want to be sold to. They want to feel like you're bringing some value to them.
That's right. That's good. That's real good. And I'm just kind of thinking right here with us doing what we're doing, how many of you are taking, let's see, we are in chapter 6 for this week, Law of Solid Ground. How many of you have taken time to bring value of the things you're learning in the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership to maybe individuals on your team? How many of you are bringing value? So Teresa, that's good. That's perfect. Brenda, go ahead. You're on mute, dear. Mute.
My thinking's more in prospects because I don't have a team yet. So for the prospect, it's value is sharing. I like to say that I am a solution maker. I am a peace of mind provider.
Good, good. So everything with the benefits and the opportunity, you're bringing value to people who might be looking for a plan B. You're bringing value to people who might want equal justice under law. You're bringing value to people who might want the peace of mind of knowing I don't have to be that victim of identity theft. Very good. Good.
Mm-hmm.
Kelvin.
Yes, I think everybody's saying some real good answers there. And what I'm looking at is on page 53, where John says to add value is to lift people up and to help them advance and make them a part of something bigger than themselves and assist them in becoming who they were made to be.
Good.
That's by the book.
Good.
Hey, John, I was going to say thinking less of yourself and thinking more of others. And Larry Lemke always used to say, shine your light on others and all will come back at you tenfold.
Good. That's good. Yep, very true. Shine your light on others, and bingo, they're going to want to shine their light on you. Barry, you got your hand up. Go ahead.
And mine is similar to Calvin and Alex, is focusing on others where we're gonna sit and listen to what they're going through, and then also showing that we care, that we want to be able to be there for them to get them through what they're going through with what we have to offer, and show them the means of how it can work for them in the process of what we're doing.
Very nice. Very nice. Listen to understand, don't listen to respond. That's really good. I love it. I saw one other hand. Okay, let me skip to another question. We kind of just did this. Here's another question I had is describe how, well, here, no, this is different. Describe how someone has added value to you. Anybody want to kind of take that one? Describe how anyone or describe how someone has added value to you. Robert Bagley.
One of the people on this call, Bridget Parker, has added a lot of value to me. She has supported me through some tough times, and it's just been amazing. Thank you.
That's a blessing. That's awesome. Way to go, Bridget. And Robert, thanks for sharing. Jane.
Yeah, I was going to say that, well, what you're doing right here tonight is pouring into all of us and some of the other leaders in Legal Shield that are now focusing on personal development, not so much as recruiting techniques. What Brian did before there was the Pinnacle Zoom, and Brian Carruthers gave an incredible presentation that pours into us. But even the stuff that's just pure personal development, like what we're doing, is incredible. Coach Fard Bell and Elizabeth Gardner, there's some amazing things going on.
Good. That's great to hear. Love it. Alexis? I can't see your face. You're on mute, maybe.
I'm sorry, I'm moving around. I can't come off camera, but I kind of diddle what was just said. I have to give kudos to my leader, Miss Teresa Johnson, for the value she pours into our team. And anytime you need to reach her, call up on her, email her, she's there, she responds, she answers. If there's an issue, something we need to work out, it's like, let's figure it out. Or like John Gardner would say, let's find the good in this and keep it moving. So I diddle that same thing, someone finding the good in me and being able to pull that out of me.
Good. Very good. All right, man, you guys are great. I've got about 8 people's hands up. I'm going to try to go to who I haven't heard from. We're going to jump into the next part as well. And then I'm going to come back with anything you guys might want to add if I miss you. So, LaTanya, let me come to you next, and then Jackie. LaTanya, go ahead.
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir, and good evening, everyone. So for me, because I'm not the talkative one, I like to sit in the cut, but I'm gonna ditto what Miss Alexis said, Miss Teresa Johnson. I call her God Mama. She's poured a lot into me. She's pushed me into rooms that I never thought I would be in. She pushed me out of my comfort zone and spoke life into me, just like Miss Alexis said on our calls every single morning. She's always bringing value to us to help us to better ourselves. So I appreciate her. So I just want to give kudos to Miss Johnson. Back over to you, sir.
Okay. So I'm going to have you change your language, and I want you to start saying every morning, every evening before you go to bed, I am the talkative one. All right?
Yes, sir.
We're
Yes.
going to get you out of your comfort zone, because the 3-foot rule means you need to be the talkative one. You know, that on the street cold market means you got to kind of be that talkative one. So that's all right. You're gonna speak that in to those gifts you got. So fantastic. Jackie, go ahead.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was going to say, basically what I'm hearing everyone saying is that there were others that believed in us before we believed in ourselves. And Carlos and Sheila Bird, as quiet as it is often kept, are the ones that spoke into me in a sense before I even started the local briefing. I called them up and I was terrified, and they were like, "You can do this, you got it." And so they walked me, off the wall, and then just really poured into me and was there to answer a lot of my questions. So and the rest is history. Now, we've opened up the whole state. So believing in someone, believing in me before I believed in myself. So
I love it. I love it.
Yes.
If all of you were to draw a box and kind of put your name inside the box, let's just call that your comfort zone. To Jackie's point, her comfort zone. To LaTanya's point, her comfort zone was, I don't want to say sitting on the sideline, but kind of more of an introvert versus an extrovert. Jackie kind of like, look, I'm good going to the briefings. I don't really need to do the briefings. I'm good going to the Super Saturdays. I don't really need to be doing the Super Saturdays. So you put yourself name inside that box. Now put your name outside the box for a minute. We call that outside your comfort zone. You step outside your comfort zone for a minute. It's only uncomfortable for a minute. And then you realize, wait a minute, I just raised the bar, and now your box gets bigger and it gets bigger and it gets bigger. See, LaTanya's going to be at Starbucks this coming week, the non-talkative one. She's going to go up to somebody and say, you know what? I just really love the dress you're wearing. Are you from this area? She's going to be uncomfortable. You don't know what's going to happen, but I could almost guarantee the person's going to go, thank you so much, smile at you. And then you've got an opportunity to kind of have a conversation. You're from this area. What do you do? Boom, boom, boom. So cool. Now your comfort zone's expanded. Regina, real quick, and we'll jump into the law of solid ground.
Oh, I think I was a little ahead of you. I was reading the last questions on the solid ground. So I'll wait.
Okay. You hold that thought. We're going to come back
Okay.
here in just a minute. Okay. All right. Good stuff, everybody. So let's just kind of jump into few things that I highlighted. And I could highlight the whole doggone book, but starting on page 23 or on page 23, on page 63, your people know you at the top of page 63. And again, I got the hardback. So I don't know if some of you have paperbacks or what, but it's the third page. People when you make mistakes, or your people know when you make mistakes. The real question is whether you're going to fess up. If you do, you can often regain their trust. John Maxwell was talking about his church and how he had messed up. All right. But he recognized he messed up. He went and he apologized. He confessed. He humbled himself. And guess what? He's able to regain that trust. So many times I see so-called leaders do things that are just absolutely crazy, and they don't take responsibility. They don't fess up, and it immediately impacts their character or their integrity. And when we talk about trust and how critical trust is, you can see in this next little paragraph by Maxwell, when it comes to leadership, you just can't take shortcuts, no matter how long you've been leading your people. When it comes to leadership, you just can't take shortcuts, no matter how long you've been leading people. And the note I made here, for everybody on the phone is, and I'll go back to Darcy and I and our sponsor almost 40 years ago, Jeff Roberti. He taught us, and we're watching people around us making a lot of money. Okay. I was living paycheck to paycheck. I was broke. I framed houses in the morning, bartended at night, didn't have two nickels to rub together. And I'm watching these people at 15, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100, $200,000 a month in income, and I wanted it like in the next 10 minutes if I could get it. But I had a good sponsor, and he says, look, we build a day at a time, a brick at a time, a day at a time, a brick at a time. There's no such thing as get rich quick. And if you're taking notes, the little things are the big things. And as we're looking at this chapter, you go down, trust is the foundation of leadership. On the bottom of page 63, Maxwell talks about people will forgive occasional mistakes based on ability, especially if they can see that you're still growing as a leader. This hit me in a very solid way because I'm getting a chance to talk to you. You're talking to your team's hopefully talking to their team. when you can teach A, how to sponsor B, how to sponsor D, then you're getting duplication. You don't have to be a platinum to do that, but you have to humble yourself and say, hey, I am going to be the leader I was meant to be. I'm growing like you're growing, but here's what I know. Here's the little things that you need to commit to. You need to write this down. Are each of you committed to using the Shield Nation website? Why? Because that's what has gotten results for 40 years. The onboarding, when you introduce people to your Shield Nation team, they don't have to relate necessarily to you. They don't have to relate to my story. They don't have to relate to Brielle's story, but maybe they relate to Teresa's story. Maybe they relate to Cheryl Garcia's story. Maybe they relate to Cliff's story. Maybe it's Katie's story with being a pharmaceutical nurse. Maybe it's Jerry Cohen's story, being an attorney in music, a CPA and a music attorney. You know, they're going to relate to somebody. They're not always going to relate to you. That's the importance of that. When you take them over to the team culture ebook, culture is one of the most critical aspects of any successful organization. Lead them into chapter 1. This is what we believe in. This is what we stand for. You can be an associate 3 days old. Your background can be a W-2 mechanic. You can be a waitress. You can be a waiter. It doesn't matter what your background is. And you can immediately step into a leadership category because you're providing tools and you're providing insight. You're providing value to the people you're talking to. Okay. You know, the personal daily achievement. Are you living by that? There's no shortcuts. The Wealth Builders tracking form. Are you living by that? The consumer folder. The most successful way of marketing the membership with the highest conversion rate is going to be the 4 questions, the 4 benefits, and the trial close that we put together over 25 years ago with the consumer folder. All right, now for some of you on the phone, you're like, whoa, geez, John, there's a few things that need to be changed on the consumer folder. And, you know, we have the basic, preferred, and premium plan today. Don't major in the minors. All right, you can fix a few of the little things. The consumer folder still has the basic of what needs to be accomplished. But back to you know, the first chapter, page 63, you know, people will forgive occasional mistakes based on ability, especially if they can see that you're still growing as a leader. The way you're still growing is you're committed to using those tools. You're committed to Harlan's DNA and being sold out for the opportunity, sold out for the membership, protecting lives in North America, helping to create more millionaires than any company in the industry, okay? Those are all things I would buy into if you were sponsoring me. You would give me A, B, C, D, and E. Help me to understand your team. I want to meet your team. Walk me through those onboarding steps. Oh my gosh, they're so valuable. Let me get a feel for your culture that you live by. I'm sold out with this kind of culture. We're people of value and we value people. We exceed expectations. It's just so solid. People are hungry for that today. In a country that's been divided, with a media that lies to everybody every day, you don't think people aren't hungry for something like you and I and what we're offering? Of course they are. Okay. All right. Okay. Page 64, just a couple other thoughts. In the box, to build trust, a leader must exhibit competence, connection, and character. You guys already talked about the connection as we were kind of sitting here together. That bringing value. I think what Barry said, I listen as much as I can before I respond. By asking questions, I get to I get to KNOW, know more about who I'm talking to. The more I know, the more I can help. The more I help, the more I can know. The more I know, the more I can even help more. Okay. What do you and I do? We complement the strengths and interests, the dreams, the desires, the goals, the aspirations of people who are looking to have the peace of mind we have from the membership. And we are offering people an opportunity so they don't like to have to live on the proverbial hamster on a treadmill, you know, or hamster on a hamster wheel, whatever you call the doggone thing. You guys get it. All right. So people will tolerate honest mistakes, but if you violate their trust, you will find it very difficult to ever regain their confidence. So look, I'm going to mess up. You guys have been with me a long time. I will let you down. The great thing is you know the motive of my heart. None of it was with malice. None of it is ever on purpose. I might say something goofy. I might say something kind of crazy. I might forget something, but it's not through ill intent. Makes sense, right? When people know that about you, it's like, no big deal. Let's just fix it and go forward. I know you got my back. I know I can trust you. I've seen your character. I like working with you. I want to be a part of your team. Okay. And 65, my last little comment, is I just like that. I like that story. I was a college basketball player about Jerry West. NBA great Jerry West commented, you can't get too much done in life if you only work on the days when you feel good. I just really like that. I think it's so good. If your people don't know what to expect from you as a leader, at some point they won't look to you for leadership. And to that note, I'm going to open it up to you guys because there's certainly some more here. Get a few more of your thoughts on this chapter. I just thought the Jerry West part was huge because setting people up for realistic expectations is critical. Brenda, as an example, doesn't have a team yet. I still am going to celebrate Brenda all day long because Brenda has been with us, I don't know how many years. She still got her head in the game today. She understands she can have a plan to review, a refine in advance. She can do some things differently to get the team she wants. And guess what? There's days where Brenda doesn't have a good day. There's days where John Hoffman wakes up and there's things I don't want to do. But I look at my flesh and I will not be driven by my feelings or emotions. There's times I don't feel like going to the gym. But I don't go by what I feel like. There's times I'll be at a Starbucks or somewhere. I don't feel like talking to somebody. I have a lot of times where I'm on the flights if I'm not flying myself. And I just want to kind of get over there, read a book and chill out. But inside I'm like, you need to kind of talk to somebody. You need to prospect. Okay. I don't feel like it, but I do it. Okay. All right. Give me any of your thoughts, your comments, aha moments. What stood out for you in this chapter, The Law of Solid Ground? Anybody, anything? Regina, you want me to come to you because you had a couple of thoughts on this. You were in this chapter as we were talking.
Yes. So one of the questions at the back. So I have the 25th anniversary. How about your leaders? Do they consistently put their trust in you? And so, yeah, like a couple other ladies, Latanya and Alexis, Miss Johnson, she shows me that she trusts me. She has asked me to host our team call the last couple months on Sundays. So she's showing her trust in me, which makes me do a little bit more and research some things to be prepared for the team call so that I have something valuable to share with the team. So yeah, trust. That part, trust.
That's so good. I've got 100 examples on this, Regina. I'm right there with you. I got knocked myself off there. That's the beauty right there of tell me, show me, let me grow me. It's a good example. My daughters were about 5 years of age when I taught them at 5 how to drive a boat, how to drive wave runners. And, if you were a neighbor looking at me, you'd be like, maybe I need to call the police or the Department of Social Services. This guy's crazy. No, I grew up working on farms my entire life. If you take a look at, 6, 7, 8-year-olds, they're driving tractors, they're out in the fields. If you and I will raise the expectations of how we see others, they will raise to that level. It's absolutely amazing. And so that's the beauty, because Teresa, for the most part, with Regina, did a tell me, a show me, a let me, a grow me, because Regina's on Teresa's calls. She's watching Teresa do the call. So Teresa tells her, Teresa shows her, but then Teresa lets her do it. You know why she lets her do it? Because Teresa trusts Regina. So Regina steps in, and guess what? Teresa doesn't go too far, because Teresa's there for the tell me, show me, let me, grow me part. And after Regina does the call, Teresa's like high-fiving Regina, congratulating Regina. Girl, you're the best, that rock. Now here's a little grow me time. Here's one thing I thought maybe we can improve on. Here's one thing I thought we could do a little better. And anyhow, it's the same thing with the consumer folder. It's the same thing with the 3-foot rule. It's the same thing with prospecting. It's the same thing with anything we do in the business. Tell me, show me, but let me do it. And you're letting me do it because you're investing your confidence in me and the trust that you have for me to raise that bar. So, golly, I could spend all night on that one, Regina. That's so good. I love it. Who else? Who else on the law of solid ground?
So, John, I'll say, if the reason why we're able to do those things, if that team member does not trust the leader, it's hard to get them to move the needle, no matter what you do, if they don't trust them. And the trust comes in more than just whether or not they're going to see you do the right thing, but the trust is also, at the end of the month. We've heard about leaders at the end, they don't talk to the team members all during the month. They only talk to them the last day of the month. That's not the law of solid ground right there. And so that gives a person a really bad taste in their mouth, because now it sounds like it's all about them and not about you. And so a leader should always make the team feel that it's really about them, because it really is. Zig Ziglar's told us, if you help a person get everything they want, you'll get what you need. So it is with Legal Shield. If I help Regina hit executive director, I'll be bronze. If I help Alexis be executive, I'll be silver. So by helping them accomplish their goals, I don't have to say anything about my goals. If I just help them reach their goal, I will ultimately get what I want. And sometimes we miss that point.
Yeah, that's just really solid, Teresa. When we truly serve the interests of others, we'll get what we want, and that's so true. And we had that conversation maybe 2-3 weeks ago about people on the team who haven't heard from you all month, and now it's 2 days for the end of the month, and you want to know how I'm doing. Not because you're interested in me, but because you're interested in qualifying yourself. My gosh, what is that going to do for the team you're trying to build when they look at you as a leader? Where are they going to put their trust and respect to you? Yeah, Teresa, really, really good. Bridget, we'll jump to you, then run over to Brenda.
Teresa, that was amazing, what you just shared with all the family. Unless they know that you believe in them and you're going to plant seeds in them and harvest them and reach their goals. And one of the girls that I did a 3-way with, she was a lead in from someone I had given a business card to, checking out at Walmart. And he said, I know 2 or 3 people. And I said, well, Terry, I said, here's some more business cards, hand them out. Sure enough, he did. And I talked to him tonight, but I have to get back with him. But David Guidro did a 3-way with Jessica, and she texted me last night. And she just said, what is this? And we got her on the call, and I got her into my app and took her around the bases, and she's just really, really excited. And she told me a lot of the things that she needed, but right now she needs to pay her bills. And you know, folks, 21 years well, I had my membership 21 years ago, but when I got in the business in 2003, all I needed was an extra 500 to 1,000 a month to make ends meet. We were running with 3 teenagers, 1 in football, 2 in cheerleading, 1 in Patan, and you name it. And that's all I needed. So, and you know, and you can just tell your story right back to them and just say, that's what this business allows you to do. You keep working. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to share that, dear. And thank you, Teresa, for sharing. And Robert, I appreciated the text that you sent me this morning too. I needed that. Thank you.
Good. Thanks, Bridget. I don't remember exactly how the statistic came this morning, but 2/3 of the people in this country today on credit card debt don't even have an emergency fund, don't have enough savings for an emergency fund if something goes south. $500 for a lot of people can change their life. So to Bridget's point, show them at the associate, senior associate level, you know, 4, 5, 6 memberships a month, and you're making $500. That will go a long ways in paying some bills. Brenda, then Leslie, and then I'll get ready to wrap it up. Brenda, go ahead.
John, I'm just thinking about Mr. Drennan always taught us, always say yes. And usually anytime our leaders ask us to do something as uncomfortable as it is for us to say yes. And that leader would not probably be asking us if he did not see that we were ready for whatever he's asking us to do.
That's good. I'll never forget, Brenda, when you mentioned that. This is a name some of you will remember, Catherine Walden. Catherine Walden, you know, was much like a Kathy Pinson in the prepaid legal days. She did all the group schools. Catherine Walden always said, no matter what that customer asked, just say yes. Well, do you handle it? Yes. Well, can you do? Yes. And there's a lot to be said about that. Leslie?
Now I have a question. What if you believe in others more than they believe in themselves? And you're trying to, you know, help them get to the next level? That gets to be frustrating for me sometimes because I'm my biggest cheerleader. And I honestly believe in a lot of people. And sometimes I allow that to affect my growth because they don't see it for themselves.
Yeah, Leslie, it's a great question. And I don't know that there's really a right answer here. But I'm like you. I think most people on this team, we believe more in others many times than they do themselves. That's the beauty of the challenge you and I have. Don't ever let it discourage you from continuing to keep that belief. But we also have to understand the reality of for a lot of people today is they just won't participate in their own rescue. You know,
True.
so they'll be out there drowning and they won't even participate in grabbing a life ring. And, you know, you just have to kind of figure out how do I work with the best and love the rest. So there's times where, you know, I say, Leslie, I believe in you. I see things that maybe you're not seeing yourself. You've told me you want to be my workout partner. We've gone back and looked at your dreams and desires and your why. You told me you didn't want to have your kids in private school anymore. I'm just making this up. You know, you didn't want to have your kids in public school. You want to have them in private school, but you're not showing up. You know, I've given you 1 chance, 2 chances, 3 chances. I believe in you, but now I'm just going to have to step aside. When you're ready to run, I'll run with you, but I'm no longer going to chase you.
Thank you.
I have that heart to heart, you know, but that's the importance of going back to their why. You know, Leslie, you told me you wanted to put your kids in private education because you couldn't stand the public schools. Were you pulling my leg or were you telling me the truth? And you're going to go, well, John, I was telling you the truth. Well, I don't know if you were because you haven't put me on the phone with anybody. You haven't put anybody in your pipeline. You haven't shown up to a Tuesday meeting. You no-showed me on the Saturday. So I just can't figure out what it is you really want. Because if you want your life to change, you're going to start doing these things. I'm going to be here for you. I love you, but I'm not chasing you anymore.
Got it.
Tough love
Thank
is some of the best stuff you can give. You know what I mean? So, but we've all
And
got
John,
mistakes. Yeah, go ahead. We'll wrap up. Teresa.
I
We
wanted
can jump
to add
into
to that you can't want it more for them than they want it for themselves. It's just impossible. And something that I started doing many years ago, practicing checkerboard management.
That's
You
right.
make a move, I'll make a move. You don't make a move, I won't make a move because I can't want it more for you than you want it for yourself.
That's true. It's true. But back to
Thank you.
Leslie's point, back to what I was sharing, continue to give that, continue to be that cheerleader, continue to raise the expectations and continue to speak to the things that we see they're capable of, not necessarily what we see at the time. So Teresa's got a good point. At the same time, you know, continue to invest those encouraging words into others. Some are going to step up and you can get into checkerboard management, and others you're going to be playing their checkers by yourself sometimes.
Thank you
All right.
both.
Okay. Okay, you ready? Right quick. We're going to wrap it up here. Just a few questions to ponder for next week's call. This is going to be from the Law of Solid Ground. All right. So how effective will a leader be if he or she has lost the trust of the team? So how effective will a leader be if he or she has lost the trust of a team? All right, we kind of talked about it, but just something to ponder. How does character communicate consistency, potential, and respect? Give an example of that. Give an example of each. How does character communicate consistency, potential, and respect? Give an example for each. This is a big one for every one of you. I'm going to give you a little bit of clue of how this should be answered, but only you can do it honestly or not. Lead by example. If you've got that character, when it comes to the consistency, potential, and respect, are you leading by example? Are you part of the e-culture workbook? Are you part of the Wealth Builders Tracking Forum? Are you part of Performance Club? Are you part of LS Engage? Have you downloaded your mobile apps? Things like that. Lastly, what is the quickest way for a person to lose your trust? All right. Actually, I like this one better. Never mind. This one I like better. How do you gain and maintain the trust of others? How do you gain and maintain the trust of others? Those are the questions we'll ponder before we get into the law of respect, which is next week. Okay. All good?
Great
All
job.
Dandy.
Hey.
Thank
Hey.
you.
Thank you,
You're not
John.
registered, not registered for Baltimore. Y'all better get your butts registered for Baltimore.
We're there.
All done.
Okay, who called my name? Who was it?
No, I said all done, John.
Okay, thank you, guys.
You said
Thank
five
you.
new, five
Thank
new
you.
in the seats in Baltimore. That's my goal.
Wait,
Okay.
wait for that Shield Nation breakout.
Yep, we haven't got, we're waiting for the company to give us the details on what room we're in.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank
Okay.
you.
John.
Thanks, John.
Thank you, Teresa.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Good night.
Everybody, comments from everybody.